Hey guys, it's Tim Sharmack, and welcome back to another episode of the Platform Marketing Show. I'm joined today by a guest who's actually not geographically too far away from me in the Florida Keys, Claire Johnson. Claire, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Tim.
So we were just talking here this morning, and Claire has been working with the Platform Marketing Program for I think this will be coming up on like eight or actually nine
9 years.
years.
Yeah.
So it's not often we have someone who's been in the platform program for 9 years, and it's taken you this long to get on the podcasts. And so I was actually putting together a list earlier of like who are all the clients we have that are just like quietly crushing it. Like you're just putting up really, really great numbers, but maybe they're not like super active in the Facebook groups. A lot of people don't even
Right.
know that there's these clients that are doing as well as they are because they're not necessarily just like posting in our Facebook group all the time. And you are definitely one of those people where it sounds like this last year you did 35 million
I did.
in
Yes.
in a sales volume, which like that puts you for sure and not just in the top 1%
Hmm.
of realtors, but probably like the top 0.1% of realtors nationwide. And I think when you joined, you'd always kind of been hovering around like 10 million
Yes.
in sales volume. So that's a pretty significant increase from where your business normally is.
Yes.
Um, Tell me about the journey of what your business looked like before the platform marketing strategy and kind of how things are different now.
Sure. So I've been in real estate for about 22 years now. And so I guess a little, just under half of it has been with you guys. And what I noticed, of course, 22 years ago, it was a lot different because we didn't have
Yeah,
social media back then. But what I had a hard time doing was getting people to know what I actually do. Like getting, branding yourself, marketing yourself, which, it's hard to do and sometimes uncomfortable because you kind of have to, well, you have to talk about yourself. And so since joining a platform, it has given me, people know who I am. Like I was making calls today. I was going down my tasks and I was, making calls today. And this one person, and probably out of about 20 calls I make, I might get in touch with one or two people, who
right,
pick up.
right. Yep.
And as soon as I said my name, he knew exactly who I was. I didn't have to go any further than that. And then it was just a normal conversation, so it really kind of breaks the ice. Um, and I forget what question you asked me, Tim.
Yeah, I mean, just like how have you noticed a change over the years? Because obviously you've been working with platform now for like eight actually nine
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 years.
years.
Yeah.
So I mean, a lot has changed even in that 9 years. But like clearly, if you're at the point now where you're selling 20 and even 35 million, like your business has really evolved since then.
Right.
Like, what do you think is the main thing that's changed in that 9 years?
Well, honestly, going with platform, because you guys have given me the ideas to start um, doing things with my business to expand it, such as not only giving us leads that come in, but also given ideas of customer events. So I've been doing that for several years now. I do a pie giveaway, I do a customer dinner, and then I try and do a ladies' night. And that might vary on what I do for that. So that keeps me staying in front of my customers, my past customers, in a nonchalant way, in a subtle way, if you
Yep.
will. So,
Yep.
because even just by sending out the invites, for my events, I send out a save the date. So that's one piece of mail going out.
Yep.
Then for
Yep.
each event, I send out invites. And then at the beginning, when I first started doing these events, I was literally calling every single one to see if they could come, which is then a phone call. It's an easy phone call to make and just staying in touch with them. So these ideas all came from platform. Um, so not only do I do the events, I make my calls. I've just started making my calls. So I will say I was really bad. It's hard. It is hard to get in the habit of
Yeah.
calling. It really is. And 2024 was a tough year for me. It was probably my toughest year in real estate, and I had been in it for many many years.
Sure. Sure.
And so I kept subliminally seeing, as I'm scrolling through my social media feeds, if you're not making the money you want to make, then you're not doing what you need to be doing. And I knew I needed to be making my phone calls, those dreaded phone calls. So I've been on various podcasts or um, where you get an agent to come on and talk to all the other
Oh, sure.
agents.
Yep.
I forget
Yep.
what that's called, but
Yeah, the Zoom, the Zoom masterminds we
yes,
do.
there you
Yeah.
go, like a
Yep.
little webinar. And you know, got a couple of scripts, simple scripts, and I think platform even sent out a script. And so it is just make it's when I call them, I just act like I'm talking to a buddy. You know, hey Jim,
Yep.
it's
Yep.
Claire Johnson in the Florida Keys. And Florida Keys, of course, is a very, you know, a place people love to come to. So it's an easy sell. So they don't hang up on me right away. And then I go into well, it depends on how the conversation goes. You know, I'll say, did you get the receive the homes list that I sent? And then once I ask that question, I will go into immediately asking, are you here now? So it kind of gets off of real estate and I'm kind of getting to know them. And
Yeah.
then the
Yep.
conversation just evolves. But once I started making those phone calls, now I feel uncomfortable when I don't make my phone calls. I was like, okay, I know I should be doing this. I need to be making my phone calls.
It has to get to the point where it feels like a habit. Like when
That's right.
when you wake up in the morning, the analogy I like using is like you brush your teeth not because you have to summon the willpower or the courage to do it every morning. It's like it's just a habit. Like, hey, I brush my
That's
teeth
right.
in the morning. And if you don't brush your teeth in the morning, you're like, oh my gosh, I forgot. And it's actually like, oh my God, I have to go brush my teeth. Right.
Right.
And like doing follow up with leads needs to be the same thing where it's kind of just muscle memory, where it just becomes part of your identity. And it's like, hey, for 30 minutes every morning, I follow up with leads. Like this is part of who I am and it's part of what I do.
That's right. That's exactly right. And it gets easier. It does get easier. I mean, I remember way back when, 15 years ago, whatever, 20 years ago, when I was trying to muscle the nerve to make calls, I called this one expired listing and he asked me if I was a robot. That's how bad it was. But now, as it has evolved,
Yeah.
you know, you just try and act like you're talking to a buddy, you know, and then just not so salesman-y,
Yeah.
just acting like you're talking to a buddy.
Now you mentioned, Claire, that you're in the Florida Keys.
Hmm.
And so I always find it interesting when you're in kind of like a non-traditional market, because a lot of agents will think like, hey, the platform strategy, seems great if maybe you're in some small town or maybe you're in like a military based town where there's tons of turnover and oh my gosh, it must be so easy to be a realtor in these types of circumstances. But you're in like the opposite
Yeah.
where it's truly a second home or vacation market.
Yes.
The Keys is a very unique real estate market. And clearly the platform strategy is also working for you. So how would you
Yes.
answer that? Like, how would you answer that objection? Like if you're me and you're trying to convince someone that the platform strategy works, even in a non-traditional market like the Florida Keys, how have you made it work for you?
Well, it's all about well, one, getting the leads. What you guys do to get the leads for us is great. Putting the advertising together. That helps. That's just something else we don't have to think of. And then and by doing platform and being on social media, people recognize me. So even if you're in a larger city, but there's a hub or an area that you hang out in, the ads are getting out there and people recognize me. And I do get people saying quite a bit, oh, you're that, you know, lady who sells real estate, or I've seen you, or a lot of people will be like, I know you from somewhere, but I don't know where. And
Yeah.
they'll
Yep.
figure it out soon enough.
Like, oh, that's right. You're that realtor. Okay. Yeah.
All
Yep.
right, exactly. And so so this past year, I have been working on the hooks. You know, when you first do your listing presentation, you do something a little silly at the beginning. And that's really gotten people talking about the silly videos that I do from those hooks. But it is recognition. And so,
What would be an example of an intro on a listing video that you've had some fun with that maybe people talked about? Can you give us one specific
yeah,
example?
jumping over the house.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yep.
Yep, that
So
one.
for people who are not familiar with it, because I know exactly what you're talking about, but there's probably a bunch of people listening to this podcast who are like, wait, what? So
Yes.
it's like a special video editing technique that the platform ads team will use where
Hmm.
You have to film it in a very specific way, and we give the instructions to all of our clients on
Yeah.
how to do it. But you film it in this very specific way. You jump up, and then the way that our ads team edits it, we basically use some visual manipulation and editing magic to make it look like you like literally jumped over the house. And
Yes.
I know that sounds really cheesy, but when you see the video, it actually looks real. It looks like you
Yes.
somehow like jumped over the house.
That's right.
And again, the whole point is for those first 2 or 3 seconds of a listing video, if you can grab someone's attention, then
Mm-hmm.
you've kind of earned the right where they might watch another 10 seconds because you hooked them in the first 2 or 3 seconds. And
That's
then your
right.
videos end up getting way more views because over
Mm-hmm.
time, if you do this consistently and you put a little bit of creativity into every listing video that you do over time, when someone, again, it kind of becomes a habit where if someone sees a
Mm-hmm.
video from Claire Johnson pop up in their newsfeed, you've kind of like trained them over time, like Pavlov's dog. Like, hey, whenever there's a video from Claire, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be funny, right? So they will
Yes.
watch it.
Yes. Exactly that. And I'll go online, and if I'm scrolling and I see a video intro that I like, I will save it. And
Yep,
somehow your ads team always figures out how to do it, to put
yep,
it
yep.
together for me. So I've got so there's a few of them, and it is, and I'm starting to do that with all my videos. Now my higher end videos, I might do something I guess a little bit classier, if you will, as an intro. Like I did one with sitting in front
Sure,
of the TV and eating popcorn, and then you put the video up on the TV screen where I'm
sure, sure.
watching. So it just depends on the dollar amount, what kind of intro that I do. But yes,
You've had some pretty big listings in the last couple of years. Like, share with
yes.
us what some of those dollar amounts for the homes that you've been selling.
So one of my customers, I actually got, I know I got through Facebook because of the marketing that was done. And the hook for him was my name, because he has a sister and a mother who has my same name. So that's how
Okay,
he found me,
that's
which,
funny.
and he, so so I've sold some, he's bought and sold a number of things through me. And so some of my listings, now we are in a higher price point being here in the Florida Keys. Our average home sale is like 800,000. So, but some of the listings are, 5 million. I've gotten 5 million, almost 6 million. My biggest sale was 8 million, down here. And so,
And you actually feel, just to be clear, that running the Facebook ads with platform marketing is helping you get those $5 million deals, six
yes,
million dollar deals.
yes, absolutely. Because
It's
people,
actually it's really interesting to hear you say that because I hear all the time from people like, oh, platform looks like it would work if I'm in a normal market in the Midwest or something, but it's
right.
I need something more sophisticated because I work with educated, affluent buyers that have multi-million dollar, and they would never go for this Facebook marketing stuff that you do. And then I hear you say, oh yeah, like it's helping me get $5 million listings.
Well, it's fun, right? These little intros, these little hooks that we do at the beginning, it's fun. And most people have a funny sense of humor. I actually got a call last year, and I'm hoping he's going to buy this year. His price point is in between 6 and 10 million. And the reason he called is because he has been following me, and he recognizes the effort, one, that I put in to my marketing, and he really appreciates it because he has businesses. So he reached out to me.
Yeah.
So, I'm starting now that the pandemic time is over, and anybody that was breathing, that was selling a lot of real estate.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
starting to get
Yep.
phone calls. I'm starting to get phone calls. So all that effort that I've put in for the last, 8 or 9 years, the last couple years, I've really started to get more phone calls from it.
Well, what's crazy is like you sell a $5 million or $6 million property, and that pays for your entire platform marketing budget
Yeah.
for the last 8 years,
Yeah.
basically in like one sale.
Yes. Yes. Truly blessed.
That's amazing because again, I just want to like double click on that many agents have this limiting belief, this totally false belief that, oh, if someone's a multi-million dollar buyer or seller, that they'll think that it's unprofessional if I have fun in my social media marketing. It's like it's almost, I would argue, the opposite
Yeah.
because the um the type of person and the demographic that can afford $1 million or a multi-million dollar house probably has been very, successful in their career to get to that point where they can
Yeah.
afford a house like that. And so usually you have to be fairly serious in your day-to-day business dealings if you're at that level of income. And so to them, it's almost more of a pleasant surprise to see someone who's having fun, and they get to work with
Yeah.
someone who's having fun, because you don't really get to do fun things like that if you're in the type of business where, again, you could afford $1 million or $2 million house. And so I think it's almost in some ways more effective at the higher price
Yep.
points because you stand out even more, right?
Yep. And I know there's, other agents are starting to try and do what I do, but I've been doing it for so long, um, that they're just not quite there yet. But you're right. I mean, the multimillionaires are humans too, and they have a personality and they can
Yep.
appreciate hard
Yep.
work, what we're actually doing and getting out there. And as you said from the beginning, the point of, a good point of these videos is they're getting to know my personality.
Yep.
I mean, I would
Yep.
much rather hang out with a fun person than someone who's not so much fun.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, all things being equal, if I'm going to work with a realtor to sell a house or buy a house, I might as well work with someone who looks like they would be fun to work with.
That's
Right.
right. That's
So
exactly
have
right.
have some fun in your videos, have some fun in your
Yeah.
marketing.
Be
And as
silly.
yeah, like as you said, this guy, it sounds like this most recent client has been following you, it sounds like, for a
Yeah.
year or two. So like it
Yeah.
takes time
That's
of
right.
someone like sometimes it's not like, hey, I start doing the marketing and within 6 weeks, I'm
Oh, right.
drowning in business or something. It's like, no, like this guy, it sounds like, was following you for a year or two, but like
Yeah.
when he does eventually buy or sell, it's going to be a $5 to $10 million
Yeah.
transaction. And it's because you're
That's right.
consistently putting out
That's right.
content, not just, hey, I did one creative video once. It's like you're regularly every month putting out interesting content.
And when you go on, listing presentations, I always do snippets of the Facebook ads and how many views it's getting. That is one thing we can track.
Right.
And it's
Right.
huge when sellers can see, hey, look, this is the amount of eyes that are going to get on this listing. And it makes you stand out because, again, I mean, I know agents can boost ads, but it's not only the views, but then, I mean, I have about 6,000 followers, I think, on Facebook, and I don't know if that's a good number or a bad number, but it's better than 500.
Right.
So people
Right.
have been following me and following me, and so it kind of just snowballs. And so, being able to do the proof saying, hey, look, this is the amount of views you're going to get because of the ad dollars. And I always tell them, I'm not just selling a home, it's also a lifestyle. And especially down here,
Yep,
I,
for
I
sure.
post videos of businesses as you guys suggest. I do all the videos that you guys, I try and do a lot of them,
Yep. Yep.
of the videos that you guys suggest about the area because it is a lifestyle down here and being out on the water. It's all about the water down here. So I try and do such videos.
If you could narrow it down to like one or two videos or one or two ads, even if it wasn't video, if it was just a photo ad, are there like one or two ads over the last couple of years that you can just look back on where you're like, hey, like this one specifically people loved, or this one
Yes.
specifically got a bunch of engagement? Like what are one or two of
Yes.
those?
So one of the ads I did was my 5 favorite things of living in the Florida Keys. And so I listed 5 things, had things on the water, had community. And so that video got almost 300,000 views, which is,
Holy cow.
I know, that's what I
Is
said.
there even 300,000 people who live in the Florida Keys?
Not who live in the Florida Keys. We only have a population of about 80,000 for the entire length of the Keys, but we have millions of visitors that
Yeah, for
come through
sure.
every year.
That's amazing though.
I
Wow.
know, I thought so too. Now I have not gotten that high of views, since. So, but it was pretty impressive,
Again,
I
like
will say.
that shows that if you're a realtor and you're going on a listing appointment or something, you're like, oh, by the way, like I'm also kind of a champion of the community. Here's a local
Hmm.
recent video I did that got 300,000 views. If
Yeah,
you show that to a seller, it's not that listing video you got 300,000 views, but it shows that like you're an expert marketer. And
right,
if you're a seller and you're selling obviously a multi-million dollar property where marketing really matters at that price point, because there's not a ton of transaction volume velocity for $5 million homes, right? It really
right.
does. It requires marketing. to
Right.
sell those homes, right? Where if you're in a normal part of the country in whatever, Nebraska or Ohio or Iowa or something, where there's just a bunch of $250,000 homes or $300,000 homes, we all kind of know, right, that price is what sells homes. Like if it's priced right, it's going to sell,
Right.
right? That's not necessarily true of a $6 million house in the Keys, right? Like
Right.
because price at that point, like at that level, price is a much more of an art than a science, right? It
Right.
really does come down to the marketing that you do. So again, even though like your video of like 5 reasons I love, living in the Keys,
Mm-hmm.
even though that video wasn't about a home for sale, it wasn't about
Right.
a listing you had. The point is, it demonstrates your competence and your excellence at social media marketing. So
Right.
if I'm the type of person who has made enough money in life that I can afford a $5 million house or a $7 million house, whatever, and you come into a listing appointment and you show me like, hey, by the way, here's a recent social media video I did that got 300,000 views here in
Yeah.
the Keys. I'm like, oh wow, so you are like an expert digital marketer, right? And you don't even have to show me anything else at that point. I'm like, I want to work with you because if you know how to get that level of engagement on social media, that's the type of realtor that I want
Right.
marketing and promoting my house. So I mean, that just puts you in an incredible position in a listing appointment.
And it's nice to be able to say that I have a small boutique marketing firm that I'm working with. I say that that's
Yeah,
part of
sure.
my listing presentation, because then it just kind of elevates you a little bit higher, I think, because now you've
Yeah.
hired someone to help you with the marketing.
And what is your like ratio right now on your business, Claire, of like buyers to sellers?
So I would say it is probably a little bit. Last year was a little bit more heavy on the buyer side,
Okay.
and so of course those buyers will eventually turn into sellers. So our turnover rate down here on average is about 7 years.
Okay.
And so a lot of people, because of the systems I've put in place, thanks to platform and the pop buys that I do and the events that I do, I stay in touch with my people all the
Yeah.
time.
Yep.
And they do have a loyalty. It does exist, and they're very appreciative of everything that I do. Now, some of them may never come to my event, but they're getting my pop buys. My pop
Yeah.
buys are I either mail them because I have a lot of homeowners who don't live here, or I literally drop them off on their doorstep. So they're getting those, they're getting my invitations to my events. So I'm constantly staying in front of them without necessarily having to pick up the phone and
Yeah.
call them,
Yep.
but every maybe once in a while. But if they have a real estate question, they know they can call me. And of course, my pop buys are sometimes just that, and maybe once or twice a year, I'll put in there, that I like referrals, or something having to do with
Yeah.
referrals
Yep.
type of thing. But it's not, I don't hammer it in. And all that works. And so all these buyers now go onto my lists and my database, and I'll start staying in touch with them. And that's how it just kind of keeps snowballing.
I mean, I'm just doing basic math in my head right now, and if you did 35 million this year, that means your GCI was probably what, 800,000.
It was up there.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Did you ever think when you joined platform, you know, 9 years ago that you would be at 800,000 GCI? What
Mm-mm.
was like? Was that even
No.
a level of production that seemed even possible to you?
So I knew it was always possible because I saw a couple other agents doing it. But and this is my second best year. I've had another year that I had, it was a really good year as well. And
Okay.
I can't
Okay.
remember exactly when that was, but this is my second best year. But it is because of the systems that I have put in place that I'm hoping to continue. I mean,
Yeah.
I would be happy. I would have been happy with selling like 14 million, 10 to 14 million a year, but when you have a year like this past year, you want to keep it going, of course.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you were like, okay, I like that.
It kind of like reframes your sense of normal of like, oh, wow, like I guess it is possible to sell 30 million in
By
in a
myself.
year. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, again, yeah, that's incredible because it's not like we're talking about, hey, Claire has a team of 7 people or something
Mm-mm.
that, it's like, no, it's literally just you
It's just me.
selling that.
Yep. It sure is. And I know it can seem daunting, like when I talk about the pop buys and then I talk about the pie event and then my dinner event. Because for me, you know, like when I would hear other agents talk about these things, it was like, oh my gosh, one more thing to add to the list. But if you just start slowly, you know, maybe one year you focus on Popeyes and you just start it, like you just keep it going. And then maybe the
Yep.
next year you add in one event, you
Yep.
know, but it does work. And then you slowly build up to it. Then it just becomes normal. Like it's not so daunting, it's not so stressful. It just becomes, oh, part of it, part of the business. And it
You
makes
know,
it for me a lot easier.
that's a one thing that we talked about a lot at the mastermind workshop. We actually had this last week where I think we had about 30 members of the platform get together in person actually, and
Nice.
we were masterminding this week. And one topic that I guess we just hammered on over and over again was the importance of doing several client appreciation events every year, like ideally 3 to 4 client events every year.
Hmm.
So rather than doing one big one, because if
Right.
you have one big one that you really, really promote heavily and you're hoping to get, 100 or 200 people there or whatever, I guess that's better than nothing. Like it's better you see your clients once a year than nothing.
Right.
But the problem is when you have that many people show up to an event, if you have 100, 200 people showing up, you're not really having meaningful,
No,
deep conversations with anyone
not
there.
at
You're
all.
more so just saying hi, 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 right?
Yeah.
But if you do 3 or 4 smaller, more intimate events every year
Hmm.
where maybe the attendance is only going to be 15, 20, 25 people, but you're doing that 4 times a year,
Right.
A, at the event itself, you're much more likely to have meaningful, memorable conversations because it's a smaller group. You're actually
Yeah.
getting to talk to those people. And B, if you do, let's say, 4 events a year, so in other words, every quarter, every 90
Right.
days, you're doing some sort of small event, right? The real reason you do it is because now you always have an upcoming event to invite people to. And so
That's right.
when you do your calls and you're doing your follow up, and maybe you have a lead coming in from a Facebook lead generation campaign, you never have to worry about, oh my God, what am I going to say? I don't like calling leads, because all you're doing is calling to invite them to your
Yeah.
upcoming event.
Hmm.
And so it gives you 4 extra excuses every year to call your past database, because now you have 4 events to invite them to.
That's right.
It literally does not matter if they say no every single time. Like, even if they don't come to any of them, the point is you had an excuse to call them, and now
That's
you maybe
right.
have a 5-minute conversation about something else entirely.
Yes.
And
That's it.
yes, it gives you a reason to call
Yep.
them, even if they never show up to your event. So for that reason alone, you should be doing
Yes.
events, because it gives you such a psychological kind of Trojan horse reason to call people.
Yep. And I understand, like, money can be a concern for some when you're just starting out. And so even if you try and do something once a month, whether it is a Popeye, or an event, if you can only afford one event a year, that's this year. Then the next year might be different and you can add on
Sure,
another one.
sure.
You know, I was never, whenever I had a little bit extra money, I always put it back into the business somehow, which is how I kind of found a platform. Was I was looking for a contact management system. And then you offered that free book. And I
Okay.
thought,
Yeah.
I was like, free? Okay, I can listen to something and then get a free book so I can read about high hanging fruit. And
Yep.
that's how the hook. And then when I was on the call, you said I only work with one agent per area. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's brilliant. Like, of course, so that way we can all collaborate across the country and come up with ideas. And that's what hooked me. And I have been with you, ever since.
Yeah, it's so crazy hearing the story that it's been like that worked 9 years ago and you're still a
Mm-hmm.
client 9 years
Yeah.
later like that. So you don't know this, but actually I have a new book coming out later this year. So it
Oh,
took
nice.
me like 9 years to write a sequel, but I actually have a new book coming out
All right.
later this year that's called The Lighthouse Strategy. Basically
Nice.
all the new things I've learned since running platform over the last 10 years, has gone into this new book. Because actually, when I published the first book, High Hanging Fruit, I mean, platform had only existed for like a year at that point.
Isn't that amazing? So I was kind of in on the beginning, sort
Oh
of.
yeah, absolutely
Wow.
yes. And so
Wow.
we have a new book coming out later this year. But it's crazy hearing that book strategy
Yeah.
is what kind of connected you to us, and now you're still working with us, and you're being
Yeah.
interviewed on the podcast as a success
Right.
story 9 years later.
Right. I
It's
got my foot in the door to you guys. And then you told me about the one agent, per
Yep.
area, which is brilliant. And I know, like I've heard from other people around town that even other offices, talk about what I do,
Yeah.
because they know that social media is important,
Well, it doesn't take very many videos getting 300,000 views for all of a sudden
right?
people to be talking about you, because again, if
Right.
you said there's there 80,000 people that live in the Keys.
So there's 80,000 residents in the Keys, yes. And we probably have about, I don't know, 4,000 agents.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. It's the same thing where I live in Naples. It's like when you have high property values, it's
Yes.
so easy to rationalize, oh, I'm just going to get my license and sell a couple homes a year and
It's
make
so easy.
it exactly. And then it turns out it's like, every other neighbor on your street is technically a licensed real estate,
Yeah, right.
agent, and therefore everyone knows so many agents because they're like, oh, I
Oh, yeah.
think my brother is an agent or his
Yeah.
sister's husband isn't it, you know what I mean? And then you
Yeah.
actually look at, okay, well, how many houses are they selling? And it's very
Right.
typical, like, it's not even 5% of the agents are doing 95% of the
Yeah.
business. It's more like 2% of the agents are doing 98% of the business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Yep.
And
Absolutely.
obviously you aren't just in that 2%, you're in like the top probably 0.2% of producers in the Keys, which is
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. I think so. I really do think so. And another thing that's important too is those Google reviews. I mean, because I get some Google calls
Yes.
too, the Google
Yes.
ads that you guys started doing for us,
Yep.
brilliant. And so I worked hard, and that was another, I think a couple years ago. I worked hard on, I reached out to my past customers and asked them to write a review. I said, hey,
Yep.
I need help. I'm trying to get to a certain number of reviews because then I can do something different with my advertising on Google. And they were like, they're all in, because I keep that relationship going. Like I'm not just calling them every once in a while. They're hearing from me all throughout the year.
Yep.
And so I got my 50 some reviews on Google, and I do get some calls.
That makes a difference. That absolutely makes a
It
difference.
really does. And I make some calls, and I like how you guys will, the Facebook posts will automatically go over to the Google review page, or at least most of them,
Yep. Yep.
because I think that's going to be an important thing to focus on as
Yeah,
well.
because if someone Googles you, because very often how this works is someone first sees you on social media. Well, just as humans, what do? We're going to go Google Claire Johnson,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
And then if I Google you and then I see, oh wow, she actually has a ton of positive reviews. So it's like, okay, she's not
Yeah.
just really good at social media. She actually looks like has a ton of like legitimate Google
Right.
reviews. It just makes you look so much more credible. It's actually why we called the company Platform in the first place, is we wanted like
Nice.
one platform that kind of just like covers all of your
Yeah.
bases. So if you're working with platform marketing, you don't really have to worry about what's my strategy for Google versus what's my strategy for social media versus what's my strategy for YouTube or whatever, because we kind of just handle all of it for you with like one platform. Yeah.
Yes.
And obviously you are proof that this works.
I had someone who called me the other day, and they said, "Well, we found you on ChatGPT." I was
Oh,
like,
okay. Okay.
they Googled where
Yep.
they asked ChatGPT
Yep.
whatever, something about realtors, and she looked at the first agent, and she's like, "No, I don't want to work with her." And then she saw me, and then she gave me a call.
Yeah, and
So
that's going to become more likely. I've actually heard
yeah,
that from other platform agents as well, that they had a client find them with AI, like with something like ChatGPT,
yeah,
because all that ChatGPT is doing at this point, it's like a turbocharged version of Google search where it's scouring the entire internet, including social media, because obviously Facebook is part of the internet, right? So it can
right,
see how many views your videos are getting and how much engagement you're getting. And so if they ask for a realtor, ChatGPT is smart enough to be like, well, this agent, Claire Johnson, is getting a ton of engagement on social media.
yeah,
Therefore, she probably is a community, expert. And so I think that's actually going to become more and more in the future a major part of the platform marketing strategy, is making sure that we're optimizing things so that you show up in ChatGPT searches. Because I think
yeah,
5-10 years from now, who knows if it'll be chat GPT or some other
right.
AI,
That's right,
program that pops up in the future
right,
that beats chat GPT, right? But whatever it is, AI search is going to be the Google search of the future, right?
yeah,
So, and in some ways it already is,
yeah,
right? So,
yeah.
Claire, I probably already know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask it anyways. When you're out and about, in the Keys, whether you're at the grocery store or wherever, kind of just in like real life for you. Have you ever had someone like come up to you and be like, "Oh, I know you"?
Yeah, a lot. Like a lot. It happens a lot since joining platform and getting out there on social media. It happens a lot.
Do you have like sellers or buyers, that work with you and they like explicitly tell you, "Oh, I've been following you on social," or "I saw such and such video," or
Yeah. Yeah, and not just buyers and sellers, but you mean the ones that call me, or the ones that I get, or just, I mean, just even out in, things that I do out in the community. People
yeah,
will comment on my videos and we'll laugh about them because some are kind of cheesy, and you're like, ah, yeah, you just laugh about it because there should be a little silly. I look
yeah,
for the humor in things, and but yes, I do. I have people, strangers that I don't know, will come up to me. I mean, it's
yeah,
crazy
yeah,
because again, when I first got it into real estate, no one knew what I did. And I didn't know how to market myself. We had print advertising, right? We had the newspapers. We had, I think websites were starting to come out. So I
yep,
spent the time and I did it myself because it was free and I had plenty of time. But it wasn't, and I was, before Zillow came along, my
yep,
website was up at the top. Well, then, Zillow came along and that kind of
yeah,
went away. And so when you
yep.
guys came along, and I knew that social media was going to be, a good thing, and you guys were able to do everything that you did, I just learned so much, working with platform. And I guess it just sounds so silly because I've been in it for so long, but just the things that you guys always suggest, and then other agents are talking about the events that they're doing, and the encouragement that everybody gives has really transformed it. I am now running a legit business, is what I'm doing. I'm running a business, is what I'm doing.
Yep.
And I feel like it's a
Yep.
legitimate business because I'm doing the things that I need to be doing. I'm doing the advertising. I'm calling people. I make my phone calls. I got two potential leads today. So,
Oh, really? Awesome.
yeah.
Awesome.
So, so I'm just doing the things that I should be doing, and I'm doing it consistently because I talk to my manager, is that what you call?
Yep.
So I talk to my manager on a regular basis, which kind of keeps you focused and keeps
Yep.
doing the things. So it has, I mean, really, a huge part of it is you guys creating the business for me and me listening and me doing. If
Yeah.
you're not making the money that you want to be making, then you're not doing the things you want to be doing. And I kept seeing that over and over and over and over. And I was like, all right, I got it. I got it. And then I started calling.
Yeah. I think for a lot of clients, what platform gives them is kind of a sense of like a blueprint and a structure of
Yes.
like, hey,
Yes.
this is what you should be doing on a
That's
day-to-day
right.
basis. And yeah, technically we're a marketing agency. So what you're technically doing is you're hiring us to manage your social media ad campaigns, and we edit your videos and we set up your lead gen funnels and things like that.
Yeah.
But also what you get from platform kind of as a byproduct of all that is you just get a blueprint of like, hey, here's what our most successful agents do. Here's what you should be
Hmm.
doing every
That's right.
day. And yeah, like we'll, manage all your ads and edit your videos and stuff, but it also gives you that sense of confidence of like, oh, okay, well, maybe you didn't realize it at the time, but it's like I was kind of winging it before. I was just waking up every day and doing whatever I felt like doing
Yeah.
that day.
Yeah.
And when you see that there is a blueprint of what other successful platform agents are doing, hey, when
Hmm.
I wake up, here's the things I do every morning, and here's the things I know I have to do every week.
Yes.
And you say, oh, those people are pretty consistently selling 15 million, 20 million, 25 million a year. I guess I'll just start doing those same things.
That's right.
And voila, your business eventually grows to that level too.
It does. It really does. Because again, if you're not making the money you want to be making, you're not doing the things you should be doing. And I mean, it took a while for that to hit home, but it did. And watching my bank account, my savings just go down. Like, in 2024, it was quite slow for me. I think I only had, I think I only did 6 million, 6 or 7 million that year. And I was like, oh my gosh, we can't have this. And then I started doing the things that I should have been doing since year one of joining you guys, is
Yeah,
calling people. There are some nice people out there. A lot of times people don't answer, whatever. I leave a message. I always leave a message so they can hear my voice, so
sure,
they know that I
sure.
am, a human being. And then I follow up with the text. And then I go on to the next call. I just keep going on and calling because you guys are doing all the hard work for us. What you guys are doing has freed up time for me to do other things. Because imagine if you had to stitch your own videos together and do the do the ads on it's impossible. It's too much. It's too much work. And so what you guys take over allows me, frees up my time to do other things.
Yeah, I think most of our clients were probably saving them, depends on the week, but somewhere between 5 and 10 hours every week
I would say
of the
minimum for
yeah,
sure.
of the amount of videos we edit for you or
Yeah.
ads we're setting up,
Yeah.
whatever. And so it doesn't sound like a lot, 5 to 10 hours a week, but like that's somewhere between 1 and 2 days to you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that where now you
Yeah.
have either extra time with your family or extra time to call leads and follow up or go on listing appointment. I mean, that can make a big difference
Yeah.
in your business at the end of the year if you can free up
Yeah.
5 to 10 hours uh, you know, a
Well,
week.
just figuring out how to do the ads. I mean, that's a process in itself. I mean, I've done a couple of YouTube ads and I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's just so you got it's like it's hard. It's annoying. I find it to be annoying because I don't do it consistently. So it takes me a couple hours.
Yep. Well,
So,
you said, if you're regularly calling your leads and you're doing the
hmm
things that you should, maybe should have been doing all along, that's kind of a narrative I've heard a lot
hmm
in the last couple years that hey, I didn't really, I wasn't consistently calling my leads maybe back in 2020, 2021. And the reason is business was falling out of the sky in those
Right.
years. Like you didn't really have to call your leads for a
Right.
couple years there because the market was so hot that
Yes.
I think, like, honestly, I kind of understand not calling your leads because if you didn't even have to call leads, like, why would you take time to do that if you could still sell a bunch of homes without doing it?
Right.
It's like if you didn't have to lift weights and watch what you eat and you would still be ripped, who would watch what they eat and
Right.
lift weights? You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's exactly
But
right.
now in the last couple years,
Yeah.
like obviously the market tightened up
hmm
and you weren't going to sell 10, 15, 20 million a year by just waiting for the phone to ring because like
That's right.
honestly in 2021 a lot of agents had their best year ever even if they didn't call a single lead. They were just waiting
Right.
for the phone to ring and it was actually ringing, right?
Yes. Yep.
But over the last couple of years you see that okay, well we have to go back to basics now. We have to go back to
That's
like
right.
fundamentals and blocking and tackling and
hmm
making your phone calls, right? Like
Making your
actually
phone
calling
calls.
people. And if you do that, you will build a pipeline, your business
You,
will grow. Like it's always been that way, but there was just this couple year exception period during,
that's right.
those really hot years. I think a lot of agents just fell into bad habits and now you're kind of
Sure.
seeing people kind of relearn the fundamentals and the
That's
habits.
right. Absolutely. And we are salespeople. That's what we do. And salespeople need to make phone calls. I mean, you had salespeople knocking on doors, selling
Yep.
vacuums, way
Yep.
back when. Like, these are the
Yes.
things you
Yep.
have to do.
I mean, like, yeah, imagine being like a 1950 salesperson. You're selling
Oh,
like
God.
vacuum cleaners and encyclopedias and pots and
Yeah.
pans and life insurance
Door to
and
door.
yes, exactly. Like complete strangers who do not want to see you when they open their door,
That's
right?
right.
And what we get to do if you're a platform agent is like, yeah, you're calling leads, but they're also seeing all of your retargeting ads. And so when
hmm
you call, very often they're like, "Oh, okay, yeah, Claire, I
Yeah.
know who you are." Like they
Yes.
actually, it's not like I always say, it's not cold calls when it's platform. It's actually like warm
I
calls
would agree.
because with
I would
all of the
agree.
retargeting ads that you should be running, right? When you call people, very often they actually know who you are.
Yeah, which makes it a lot easier. I mean, that was a phone call today. I called, and as soon as I said my name, he's like, "Oh, hey, how's it going?"
That's awesome.
Just yeah, it makes it a lot, like you said, it's a warm call. It makes it a lot easier, and then you segue into whatever conversation you segue into, and eventually get around to real estate and what they're looking for.
We're recording this video technically in January. So let me ask you, like, what is your biggest goal or what are you hoping to do maybe more consistently in this year than maybe you didn't do last year?
So I think I'm just going to continue doing what I'm doing and staying on top of my phone calls. I mean, I really started that last year and it really, or probably the end of 2024 is when I started that and it has really paid off. So that's something I'm still going to focus on. I don't
Yeah.
know if there's anything else necessarily I'm adding to my business plan at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, because it seems to be working, but
Yeah. Yeah,
I
I would say so. If you hit a 35 million
I
last
know.
year, whatever you're doing is working. So just keep doing that,
I
right?
know it's crazy. And I mean, I'm very blessed, right? I mean, I'm always thanking God all the time for what he sends my way. I do a lot of prayers. So, but I do, I put in the work, and I'm just very grateful for all the ideas that you guys come up with and send our way. I mean, it works. It works if you work it.
Claire, is there any last bit of advice that you would want to share with someone who's either listening to this, maybe they've already been in the platform for a couple of years, or
Yeah.
maybe they're not working a platform, but they're just inspired, hearing your story and how much your business has grown? Like, what is some parting advice?
So I would suggest listen to what platform is suggesting, and then do as much as you can. You just have to start. Even if it's 2 phone calls a day, just start it. Just start it. Even if it's one pop by a year, just start it, because it will build on itself. And it will, and then you'll see the results, and then you'll want to do a little bit more. So I would just say just start and have faith in the process, because there is money to be made in this business, and it is a business, and you have to run it as such, and you have to be dedicated and
Yep.
spend time making your phone. You guys make it easy by giving us leads. I mean, you know the company I work for, we've purchased leads from Realtor.com and various places, and they're terrible, and what you guys provide to us, I mean, I might be making 50 phone calls before I maybe get that one lead, but that's all you got one. And then if you sell them something, then eventually you're going to have a seller on the other end when they
Right.
go to
Right.
sell their home.
Yep.
So you build up your database, but stay in touch with your customers as best you can, because that's huge. And then referrals, they'll refer you people, but just start doing something different than you're already doing. And for me, that was phone calls, finally, after 7 or 8 years of being with you guys.
Yeah. Like, treat it treat it like a business, because it
Yep,
is a business, and then
that's
you'll
right.
get business type results.
That's right.
I found this social media post here that, this what you were saying about putting in the work, making the phone calls, maybe doing things when you don't feel like doing them, because
Mm-hmm.
that's the difference between a professional and an amateur. Is the professional wakes up every day and does their work no matter what, because that's their job, right?
Right. That's right.
um, One of our most famous kind of viral social media ads we've ever done at Platform was very simply just this one sentence that we actually ran as a retargeting ad, and it just says, "God is in control, but God doesn't expect you to lean on a shovel and pray for a hole."
I love that.
So God is
That's
in
it.
control, but God doesn't expect you to lean on a shovel and pray for a hole.
That's right. You can't just sit on the couch and expect business to come by
Yeah, I
praying.
mean, it's obviously not a coincidence that your business blew up in the last 18 months, that you started finally making the phone calls to your leads.
Finally making the phone calls. That's how desperate I kept seeing my bank account dwindle, which thank goodness I even had money in there to dwindle. So I'm always grateful for that. But I thought something has got to change. And again, I kept seeing that, if you're not making the money you want to make, you're not doing the things you want to be
Yep.
doing. And I saw that, I don't know, multiple times. And I thought, okay, all right, fine. I get, I understand. And it worked. It works.
All right, Claire, thank you for your time. Congratulations on having an incredible year.
Thanks, Tim.
And hopefully you can repeat it again this year.
Let's hope. I appreciate everything you do. So thank you so much.
All right, guys, we'll see you on the next episode of the Platform Marketing Show.